So,
Are we live?
I was wondering if I can get the Oximus.
And welcome to the Pass the Aux podcast. We are back with another banger of an episode.
Ooh.
What is poppin'?
Not much, Gavin.
It is poppin'. That's what it is.
It is
Let
good
me
to
tell
be
you.
back.
Love the intro.
Oh yeah,
Always good. I wonder who makes those. That's crazy.
it's kind of a G. I heard
Yeah, that's what I heard too. Heard he be cooking.
cooking in the kitchen.
Well,
Wow. Cringe.
Okay, we don't have to finish.
That was enough.
I forgot which one does what. So there's
there's
one that's
too
very
many.
subtle. There's
Yeah.
one that's annoying, and then one that's really annoying.
That one's the really annoying.
That one's just the annoying one.
Oh.
It gets worse.
Stay tuned.
So today we're going to be doing a summer recap. But as always, what have you been listening to like within the past week or so?
Still kind of my summer playlist. I mean, I haven't changed it up. I guess I've been listening to a little bit of JID and DJ Khaled stuff, but I know we're saving that. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been listening to right now. How about you?
I've been listening to JID, obviously. The album's been on heavy rotation. But I also went and re-listened to Denzel Curry's Melt My Eyes, See Your Future.
Gotcha.
Because like how well it went with like JID's album. They paired together really well.
Gotcha.
Other than that, I've been listening to my summer playlist.
Yeah.
It's pretty much just a blend of a whole bunch of stuff. It's got like new stuff, older stuff. It's still like sunny and nice out. So like whenever I'm in the car, I don't really have like specifics in mind. I want to shuffle that playlist.
Still hot out.
Yeah. Went back to my R&B playlist yesterday though.
Okay.
I was just in the mood for hearing people who just know what love sounds like, and they sell it so well.
Yeah.
But we're gonna do a summer recap, essentially, like what came out, what we were listening to. It doesn't have to necessarily be brand new.
Yeah.
It can be from like around the May range because the last episode we did was Kendrick Lamar, and there was still a lot of stuff that came out before school ended. Anyways.
We're thinking like beginning of May to like first week August.
Yeah,
That's our summer range.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, if we're thinking about it, the only May thing we really came with was Kendrick Lamar.
Oh,
back in May, and that was really the only thing that we made an episode about. And I mean, from there, like it's all cool. And so
I was gonna say, speak for yourself because I've got an album from May, but
yeah, we got a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah.
Well, on the podcast, all we did was Kendrick Lamar.
Right.
And so there's a lot of stuff that we didn't get to talk about.
I agree. Yeah.
And so
Only
I'm
so
ready
much time.
whenever you are. So let's start with like, what's the big thing for you over the summer? Like, what album really stuck out?
The album that stuck out to me the most is actually still not the album I listened to the most.
Really?
So like, yeah, which is kind of strange just because the other one was kind of like so my two albums that I'm like talking about right now was Post Malone's 12 Karat Toothache. That one was the one that stuck out the most. I think that's one of his better albums, actually.
Oh, yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
But the one I listened to probably the most was Serotonin Dreams by Boy With You. He's like a newer guy.
Oh, yeah.
But
we play him on WZIS.
yes, we do. His stuff, though, is more like there isn't too much depth to it. He's still a young artist. I think he's like 20, like around our age.
He's also a very indie artist.
Yeah.
So, like, he's not trying to make mainstream stuff. He's one of those artists that really, like, he's not
makes bops.
he's not intentionally, like, going for radios, though. Because with
I don't know about that one.
with indie artists, like their whole thing is they're making music for themselves, and that's why the independency is so important.
Yeah.
And that's why we rarely see independent artists like in the mainstream radio scene. Like the fact that we have Baby Keem on our station.
Oh yeah.
It just says levels to where the station has or where the industry has grown to. Because Chance the Rapper, who quite possibly is the biggest example of indie artists who can win a Grammy.
Okay, yeah.
And so like he's on the radio. It's just that was never his goal. Like he's not
I see what you're
he's not
saying.
contracted to make music that says I have to make radio music.
I see what you're saying. I
Yeah.
agree with that. Yeah.
But let's dive into Post Malone real quick then.
Alrighty.
Because that stuck out to me too.
Yeah.
And it's on my list.
Okay.
And so you said you think it's one of his better albums.
Yes.
Now I think it's his best album.
Okay.
So let's dish.
Yes. See, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting. I'm so bad with remembering names. Let me go to Post Malone really quick. See, I still really, really love Beer Bongs and Bentleys,
Oh yeah.
but like, I don't feel like it's as. See, that's got the most bops on it, which is why I love it the most. But I think this is like his deepest album where he's put the most thought and everything into it.
Yeah. See.
So that's why it's hard to compare, in my opinion.
Yeah. Which we don't have to go like track by track, but like, for example, what was your favorite song?
Oh no, don't make me pick a favorite. I have so many comments on like all these songs.
Okay, well, what's one that like really stuck, like one that stuck with you like emotionally? It doesn't have to be your favorite, but like, what's the one that like hit you the hardest? I guess is what I'm looking
Hit
for.
me the hardest was Euthanasia.
Okay.
That one made me want to cry. Or When I'm
Yeah.
Alone was a really good one. But I guess like one of my favorites like that I listen to the most would be, I know it's like a heard one would be I Like You, a Happier Song with Doja Cat.
Mhm.
But like I hate always picking those because I'm like, that's the radio one. That's the one everybody
Oh
knows.
no, dude.
But it's the radio one for a reason.
Yeah, because it's like the most catchy one. It's more
Yeah.
fun, and
And
honestly,
I love Doja.
so I like how we're on like different spectrums with this album.
Okay.
Because like the song that I listened to the most is probably Lemon Tree, and because I really liked that one.
I like how he had like kind of a country twang to his voice in
Yeah.
that song.
He is one of the best, like, I don't even like, technically he's categorized as a rapper, but like I would put him in like more of like a pop category because he's not even making R&B music either, but
I
he
think
does
he's-
things with his voice that no pop star does.
I agree.
And it's not even like, so specifically that song is like the twang he does.
yeah, it threw me for a loop, man.
But
Like,
then if you look back at even White Iverson, which
Oh, yeah.
to this day is like, everyone knows that's the one song that blew him up.
oh yeah,
If you look back at White Iverson, even like the simplicity of that, his vocals are still unique compared to typical rap songs.
Oh, I
Or
agree.
typical pop songs. And so that's one of the like the most impressive things to me about Post Malone. And like I was saying about how I think this is his best album, that's strictly from like just an album standpoint too. Because I thoroughly enjoyed Stoney. And then Beer Bongs and Bentleys happened. And like you kind of saw this shift where Stoney
Yeah.
had him rapping and singing.
Yeah.
Beer Bongs is when he really took like a I'm gonna sing stance.
yeah,
And so for a while I really thought that Beer Bongs was gonna be his best album because I liked Hollywood's Bleeding. It's just
Yeah.
it didn't hit as hard like emotionally to me.
I agree.
It had a lot more like radio tracks. It had a lot more tracks that are
did.
catchy.
It had
and I
stuff
was
like
okay with
Wow. What's that song with Ozzy Osbourne?
that. Take What You Want.
Yes.
And then it also had I know it never really hit the radio, but like Enemies with DaBaby. That
Oh,
song used
yeah.
to get stuck in my head so much. And so I always thought that like Beer Bongs had the perfect mixture of catchy and deep,
Yeah.
and like he had a perfect radio album because I remember there was a point where literally almost every single song from this album had touched the radio.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing that happened with I think it was the first Culture by Migos.
Yeah.
Quite literally, there was every single week there was a new song from that album that hit
Oh,
radio.
yeah.
And I think that's impressive from an artist.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's why I think Beer Bongs and Bentley is still my favorite, but I would agree like this is his deepest album, like where you can tell he's put like the most work into it, which is
Yes.
why I don't know, I just feel like it's so hard to compare those for artists. It's kind of what you want to listen to.
Yeah. It's very hard. It's what you want to listen to versus what gets stuck in your head. That's why that's one of my favorite things about music. It's like why I love doing this podcast. I love having you here and other people to talk to about things is
Yeah.
music is so subjective because we could go from a strictly commercial standpoint and we could say that Stoney's his best album because it sold the most singles.
Right.
But-
They're all very different.
But then we go on to Beer Bongs where we're like, well, that's a radio hit album.
Oh yeah.
There was more songs on the radio from that album.
for sure.
And then, we jump into Hollywood's Bleeding. We're like, yeah, well, he had Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh,
that
yeah.
means he's at the top of the game, you know?
Oh yeah.
But I think this is his best album just because of how much I feel from it. Because I can look at things from a commercial standpoint, no problem. I just don't like doing it
Yeah.
because in my eyes, which I know it's different for the artists themselves, but in my eyes, I never care on like how they're going to perform. I want to hear the music.
Yes and no. I still think performance is semi-important. Not when an album comes out, but like, I don't know. I think of people like when I'm trying to compare art versus performance, I think of like Travis Scott, who's not the same at all and is kind of garbage without the auto-tune.
Oh, I didn't
Post
mean
Malone isn't
I
like that
didn't
at
mean
all.
concerts.
Okay.
I meant like the performance professionally.
Oh, I see
never,
what you're saying.
Yeah, I never looked
Yeah.
at this album like, man, I hope it sells a lot a
Right.
lot and goes
Okay.
platinum.
Yeah.
I was like,
This
man,
is a good
he's gonna make
album.
me cry.
Yeah.
Like, specifically, I know it's from like strictly just a lyric standpoint, it doesn't have like this huge deep story to it.
No.
But Love Hate Letter to Alcohol is such an
That's a good
emotional
one.
song.
Mhm.
And like quite literally he gives the love/hate part and he puts it in perfectly because he talks about how good it makes him feel versus how bad it makes him feel.
Yeah.
And that's why you literally feel like you're watching him on like scales the whole
Yeah.
time. And even by the end of the song, one doesn't win over the other. It goes right back to neutral.
Oh yeah.
And it's so cool. It's like a cycle that he can't
Yeah.
stop. And
So
sorry,
keep
you were
going.
saying. I was just gonna say, and that's like just great, especially going into the next track, which is "Wasting Angels"
Oh yeah.
with Kid Laroi. And I think Kid Laroi really stepped out on this one
Oh, I do too.
because he's a good artist. Don't get me wrong, but none of his music has ever been like
Deep.
rah.
Yeah.
Like the only song I've heard from him, there's two that really like hit emotionally for me, and that was, man, what's it called? It's the song he wrote about Juice WRLD, his mentor, and that one actually like really hurts.
Yeah.
Because you can hear how sad he is that he
Yeah.
lost someone so close to him,
Yeah.
and then the song he did with Corbin, that really feels like someone who's going through a heartbreak.
Okay. I don't know if I've heard that one surprisingly, or maybe I haven't. I'm just not thinking of it right now.
You might have. It's probably because Corbin's in it, and he's not like a
Right.
huge popular artist. But
I was gonna say top 3 from this album. What are
in
your top
my
3
eyes,
songs? Yeah.
oh man, dude, that's hard.
I'm not gonna rank mine in order. I'm just going to give you my mash of top 3.
Okay,
So you can do
that's
the same.
that's kind of how I'm gonna
Okay.
do it.
Okay.
Okay, you go first,
All right.
since you know.
All
I
right.
need to look at the track list
That's
one
fair.
more time.
That's fair. So I'm gonna go with "I Like You" just because such a happy song. Also, really quick, I love how he did "I Like You," a happier song, and "I Cannot Be," a sadder song.
Yeah.
Like it was just
It's really good contrast. Like I love
Yeah.
it. It feels like part one
he
and
did
part
a lot
two.
of very like this, and I liked it. So "I Like You" with Doja Cat, then "Insane," and then my other one would probably be "One Right Now" with The Weeknd.
Okay.
Those are my top 3. That's why, like, I know I talked about "When I'm Alone" and "Euthanasia" earlier. Like, there's just so much. Those were
yeah.
like the ones that hit me, though. I wouldn't say those are my favorite.
Yeah.
Those are just for a more specific mood.
Yeah, that just shows what this album can do.
I know we've
And-
named almost every song already.
Oh yeah. And like even the ones I haven't named, like even the very last thing, New Recording,
Yeah.
it's not like a like a crazy song or anything, but like it fits in the vibe of this album is what makes the album this album.
I wouldn't say there's one bad song on this album,
Exactly.
which
Like
is insane.
this album specifically, so my top 3 would probably be Lemon Tree. I really liked Love Hate Letter to Alcohol just because specifically Fleet Foxes are some of the greatest musicians to ever live. And then Euthanasia is probably my other top
Okay.
3.
Okay.
But this album from top to bottom you can listen to with no skips or
Oh,
you
yeah.
can put it on shuffle. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
that's a great album from not only like a listening standpoint but just from a like structure standpoint.
Oh yeah.
This album is structurally sound and I love that part about it.
Want to rate it out of 10?
I would give this album probably a solid, I'd give it like an 8.
Okay.
And that's only because it's still fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Because like Beer Bongs and Bentley right now is an 8 in my opinion. But I've had lots of time to adjust my score and ideas and thoughts on it.
Ironically, I swear I actually have this written down. Mine is also an 8 out of
Word?
10. Yeah, I have these all like written down.
Yeah. You put a lot of prepreparation into
I
this.
did.
I do all
Really
my
thought about this
preparation
one.
mentally.
Yeah,
Like,
that's fair.
all my notes in front of me are literally just names so I don't forget them.
Mm-hmm.
And no, dude,
I get scattered. I like my
Yeah.
notes.
side note real quick before we jump to the next thing, since we're on the Post Malone talk. I love his 2016 mixtape, August 26th. It's not on streaming services,
No.
which is sad because I wish more people got to hear it.
Yeah.
but to this day, that's still my favorite project by him
Okay.
because it's, I don't know, it's
I feel like you've shown it to me before,
I've
but I
shown
don't
you a couple
remember
songs.
it, like it sticking out to
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
So I love it because it's young post.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that's emotional is raw. You know, it's
Yeah.
not like, it's not, I wouldn't say saturated because that's kind of rude, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not, he doesn't have like his feet in the music industry,
Right.
like as a full-fledged
Right.
contract artist yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so it feels more natural. It doesn't feel like he was like, man, I'm sad, but this song has to hit the radios, you know?
Right. Yeah.
But and then he has an amazing cover of Dreams by Fleetwood Mac in this and that mixtape.
I don't
Definitely
think I've
check
heard
it
that
out
one.
if you've never heard it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Kind of crazy.
You want me to go next on my list
All right,
or you?
Why don't you pick an album?
Okay. So I'll start with one that's kind of small that stuck out but isn't like my favorite project to drop over the summer yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's still very good though, don't get me wrong. And that would be Black Party's album. And that's Hummingbird.
Okay.
And so before I dive like deep into like the actual music part, some of these features alone can kind of give it away. That one of them being Childish Gambino, the other one
Okay.
being Saba, and then also Gwen Bunn did really well in her feature.
Okay.
But this is like, you know how we always talk about how Brent Faiyaz has kind of changed R&B music?
Yeah.
This guy is doing the same thing, but in the opposite direction. So Brent has brought back like the 90s feel to his music, whereas
Okay.
this guy is bringing in like this funk reggaeton feel
Yeah.
into R&B,
Alrighty.
and it's really good.
I
There's-
didn't listen to this album at all.
That's okay though.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like notes I could have given, but I don't feel like doing, given that it's not the most important project to drop this year, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still very good.
Yeah.
If you like some good feel good R&B
Mm-hmm.
and just something that I don't know, it's like it's one of those albums that almost perfectly encapsulates feelings.
Okay.
Like specifically the song Down for Me really shows what it's like to be like on the fence about things.
Gotcha.
And it's hard to do that sonically.
Yeah.
So I commend any artist that can make you feel from just words and sound alone.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love it. And
I'll
then
have to give it a listen.
having Gambino be on the outro was a smart move too, because I didn't even know he was on the album until I got to the outro.
Yeah.
The song is called I Love You More Than You Know. And so the words are just long enough to where you can't even see the feature.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yes,
I pulled
definitely.
the album up.
If you are interested in R&B, definitely check out that album. Highly
Okay.
recommend it. But what's next on your list, Big Dog?
On my list, probably, I guess if we're going by small projects, it's probably Serotonin Dreams by Boy With Uke. That
Okay.
came out like beginning of May. So I saw him live. He opened for the AJR concert I went to, which is why I think after seeing him perform, I got even more into his music. Like I had heard it beforehand because I had
Yeah.
looked into him a little bit. But I like, so there's 11 songs. It's a small little album. I'd say he makes a lot of, I know what you were saying about how he's more indie, but he does make like radio bop. So the one that most people I think would know is IDGAF, because I don't think I can say it all.
No, you can't.
Yeah, no. And it features Black Bear in it, which for such a little artist to have this random like Black Bear feature, it was like when I was looking at it, I was like, oh, okay. But that was my bop this summer. I know every word to that song. And then I love like She Said No, Heart of Ice, Understand, Prairies, Long Drives. I mean, I'd listen to any song on this album, but I'd say in my constant rotation, I have 7 out of 11 of the songs in like my constant playlist. And
Yeah.
for me, that's a lot to pull from an album.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure you've been in the car with me. This album's always consistently on,
Oh,
at
yeah.
least right now.
It's at least like shuffled into the mix,
Oh,
too.
yeah.
It's funny you say that with this little artist because he actually has 2 big features, counting Black Bear.
Okay.
Paufu, or however you pronounce it. He isn't the biggest thing in the world,
Right.
but he is still a very big artist and like this.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know how to explain it. Like he's labeled as like an alternative artist, but just like Boy With You, they're more indie than they are.
Right. It's hard to put them
alternative.
in a category.
And so that's one of my favorite parts about. I actually checked this album out
Okay.
over the summer when you were like showing
Obsessing
me,
it?
yeah, when you were obsessing over it, I checked it out so
Okay.
I could get a feel. I wanted to be on the same level as you.
Of course.
And I genuinely was like nervous going into it because I was just like, man, if I don't like this, I'm not going to be a happy camper because I just wasted 31 minutes of my time, you know?
Yeah.
And which that's also a very short album.
Oh, yeah.
For an 11-song album, that is short.
That's why I was saying his music doesn't really go in depth. It's like service level, like very young love feeling. That's how it
Exactly.
is.
And who can blame him, you know? Like
Right.
everyone wants to relive that. And I
Yeah.
think that's why he's so successful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But going into it, I genuinely didn't hate this project.
Okay.
And I, you know
You
me, I'm very critical.
Right. You know where I kind of see him? So 5 Seconds of Summer, their first album was super juvenile. Now this is not his first album, but like all his projects have come out within the last 2 years. Like he's
Yeah.
released like 3 or 4 albums.
Yeah.
Like he just went
He's still
all
fresh
in.
into it.
Oh yeah, but I think he'll be kind of more like a 5 Seconds of Summer. Like they were very like punk pop type of thing, and then they took a couple years, figured out their style, figured out what they want to do, and now they're super alternative, and I love their music still. They've kind of grown with their audience.
Oh, yeah,
and I
dude.
can see him doing something like that.
Yeah, because like to this day, I still think of She's So Perfect or whatever it's
Yeah.
called. And like,
She looks so perfect.
yeah, and that's so wild compared to
Yeah.
like their music now. And
Like
so,
Young Blood, not the same at all. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so I can see that too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think for me, I probably enjoyed a good 6 out of 11.
Okay,
Some
that's
of-
still a pretty good number.
Like I know it's one of the most popular ones, but I think Understand it felt a little redundant to me.
I like it. But yeah.
Well, granted, it's probably just because he's a younger artist,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm a little when it comes to my music taste, I'm a little too mature,
Mm-hmm.
and I wish I could feel for more of these.
Oh, I agree. Like She Said No and Understand are essentially the same song with different lyrics.
Exactly. That's
Yeah,
why I thought it felt
same.
redundant.
Mm-hmm. I
But
agree.
also, that makes me sort of a hypocrite because there's tons of artists that do the same thing. But I think it's just because of like his style.
Yeah.
Whereas, had he done like an actual alternative song,
Mm-hmm.
it probably would have a different feel.
Yeah.
But I do love though his branding being the ukulele.
Yeah.
Because every single song he's made has a ukulele in it.
Yeah.
And I think that's so cool.
He got up and played it on stage and with everything still. It was pretty good. Like he's truly like a talented artist, so it's gonna be interesting to see how he grows from
Yeah.
this type of thing. But yeah, you wanna go with your next?
I was gonna say it's funny you said something about growing because I'll do this one now.
Okay.
So as everyone knows, I'm a huge Griselda fan.
Okay.
They are
yeah.
they're one of my favorite rap groups ever.
Mhm.
They make some of the just hardest hitting rap music you could think of with the wildest of samples and stuff.
Mhm.
And so they have a frequent artist that features in their music named Rock Marciano.
Okay.
And he just dropped a project with The Alchemist last month, I think it was.
Okay.
Or I guess it was a lot closer than I thought it was. I thought it was a while ago, but
What was this album called?
it's called The Elephant Man's Bones.
Hmm.
And it's wild, but it's also weird, which is how typical of this genre of rap goes.
Yeah.
But he's an artist I've seen grown a lot because
Okay.
I looked him up once after hearing him on a Griselda song,
Mhm.
and he was all right.
Yeah.
His earlier work was fine. It wasn't anything too crazy,
Mhm.
but also at the same time, he needed to grow because I think
Yeah.
he's younger than the members of Griselda, so he's probably still kind of fresh to this industry.
Yeah.
But also having a veteran producer like The Alchemist come in and help you with, I think it's his 3rd album,
Mhm.
that says something. And this album is just great. Like the
Yeah.
second the intro track, Rubber Hand Grip, the second you hear it, you're like, what is this? Like, because it's when you go into a rap album, you expect some type of vibe.
Yeah.
And he does almost the same thing that Griselda does, which is they give you an expectation and they just step on it. And they show you that just because they're making rap music that gets aggressive doesn't mean all the instrumentals have to be aggressive.
Now, Gavin,
What?
I'm looking at this album, and I thought we were staying within the first week of August.
Yeah, I thought so too. But I didn't know when this album came out.
August 26th.
I saw a tweet that said it was great, and I could have sworn that it came out earlier than that.
No. I don't.
Okay.
I think we should come back to this and do an album swap because I I haven't listened to a ton of his stuff. I don't know the main guy you're talking about, Rock.
Marciano.
Yeah. But sorry, I swear I'm listening. But
Brain
like
hurting.
the Alchemist, I listened to like his Bread 2018 like EP and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I've heard some of his stuff. So I think we should do an album swap and kind of put this on an episode.
You sure about that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
We'll
we
see.
should push it off.
Okay.
This is not summer.
Take this. Hey, August is still summer.
We established at the beginning of the episode that we were staying in the first week of August.
How am
August-
I supposed to know when I don't pay attention?
You didn't Google it?
No.
You have to do your research. This is why we prep
This was-
more than 5 minutes before.
I am such a busy man.
No, we knew. We talked about doing the
Back off
episodes
of my
on
saddle.
Thursdays.
Back off my shoulder.
Oh man.
There's not
You
a
know
saddle
what?
on my back.
All right.
We will
But we're
come
gonna
back
save
to it.
this one.
Well, okay, fine.
Alrighty.
Fine.
Okay. Well,
Moving on.
picking a different one.
Okay.
What if I just pick at an album because it's more of a movie soundtrack? Does that count?
That's fine.
So I worked at a movie theater this summer back in my hometown, and that was super fun. So one of the movies in the soundtrack that I consistently heard was Elvis. I don't know if you went through and listened. I'm sure everyone's heard Vegas by Doja Cat.
Oh, yeah.
Big album one. But some of the other songs that I listened to a lot, there were a lot of names on this besides just obviously Elvis and Austin Butler.
Yeah.
There was like Stevie Nicks, Sway Lee, Diplo, CeeLo Green, Eminem, Doja Cat, Tame Impala, Denzel Curry, Play That Boy Zay. Like very interesting
They
names.
put a lot of effort into that soundtrack in such like a unique way because
Yeah.
the way I viewed that soundtrack when it came out, because I'm not gonna lie, I kind of picked at it a
That's
little
what I
bit
did.
because no hate towards Austin Butler. I didn't want to hear him singing until I had already seen the movie.
Yeah,
And
and
so
I get
I
that.
waited for those tracks
Mhm.
because I wanted to hear what he sounded like in the movie and get a feel for
Oh,
it
yeah.
before I go and re-listen, you know?
Of course.
And so I picked at it like the Denzel Curry and Play That Boy Zay song. Eminem and CeeLo Green, obviously, I had to hear
So
that
good.
one. Doja can't not hear that one
Of
because it's
course.
everywhere,
Of course.
which is a banger.
Another one of my summer bops.
And then, you know, you see Stevie Nicks on an Elvis album and your heart swells up a little bit.
Oh yeah, it just in that song, I'd say that's in my top 3. That Doja Cat and then the Eminem one. Just, that leaves the Sway Lee one out though, and the Denzel.
That's
can't-
okay. You
I
can't, if you can't
There's
think it's fine.
37 songs.
Yeah,
so-
it's a massive soundtrack, which is that's what it is. It gives me very much like a back when I think it was Fast and the Furious 6.
Mm-hmm.
It was either 5 or 6 that had this massive soundtrack. They both had big ones, but I think it was 5.
Yeah.
Had this massive soundtrack with some of the just most hard-hitting songs that they've ever used in the history of that franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And that's immediately what I was thinking of when I saw that many names on that long of a track list.
Yeah.
And no, genuinely, I like what they did with it.
I like all the remastered Elvis stuff and how they have it kind of laid out. And they have a lot of songs in here that were almost done like twice. Like they have Hound Dog in here twice. There's 2 Hound Dog songs. One's like, and you have to watch the movie for it because then you know some of the background with Elvis. One's The Hound Dog by Austin Butler. The other one's by, oh my God, I don't know how to say that name. But it's by like
It's the original
the
singer.
original artist that they stole it from almost,
Yeah.
or like whoever's playing that character. And I think it's really good, like the comparison and how they show like
I'm
what
glad they
happened.
did that too.
Yeah.
Because I know the movie pays respect to her,
Yeah.
but in order for them to make a soundtrack like this, you gotta even if it makes Elvis look like a bad guy per se,
I think they did a good job at balancing that, showing
which is good. Because
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, Elvis is the king, and this isn't me like trying to slander him by any means, but like specifically that song, I knew about that way before the movie came out.
Yeah.
Because my great grandma was talking about it once, and I mean, she wasn't a fan of the original,
Yeah.
but she was also
Ironically.
she also survived the Great Depression.
Yeah.
So around that time, she was probably one of the people that thought it was wild for music to be that aggressive
Oh yeah.
and whatnot. And so,
Ironically, I liked the original Hound Dog a lot better than Elvis's and like
oh, yeah.
Austin
Her
Butler's.
voice is better.
Oh yeah, it's very good, but those are just like my little picks from this album, like Cotton Candy Land with Stevie Nicks. That was so beautiful.
How often have you listened to Elvis before this movie came out?
Not much. I'm gonna be honest. A little bit here and there because I was obsessed with Lilo and Stitch as a kid, and Lilo loved Elvis.
Oh, yeah.
So
So I'm a big fan of Elvis.
Okay.
That's why I wanted to clarify that I wasn't
Yeah.
trying to slander him.
yeah.
His best song ever, in my opinion. Not gonna say anyone else's opinion is wrong here because it's Elvis, who unfortunately has been dead for a long time.
Yeah.
His best song is Teddy Bear,
Okay.
and that probably is an emotional thing for me because we used to karaoke when I was little, and I used to do that song, and I never understood what it meant.
Yeah.
But I always thought it was cute when he's always like, "Let me be your teddy bear."
Yeah.
But I love Elvis.
I'd say my favorite like Elvis one from this one was probably Suspicious Minds.
It's a good
I
one.
really like that one.
Elvis has made some phenomenal music. And trivia, did you know who married Elvis's daughter?
I do not.
Michael Jackson.
Wait, really?
Michael Jackson's widow is Elvis's daughter.
I did not know that.
Yep.
Wow.
Him and well, that's why they originally did King of Pop for him, is because he was so close to Elvis.
Interesting. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
That's fun. That is cool.
But you ready to move on?
Yeah, I
You done talking
am.
about Elvis?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't want to interrupt.
No, no, you're good.
Okay. So technically this album came out in 2021, the original version.
Okay.
But he updated it and added 5 more songs to it. So I'm only going to talk about these 5 since
Okay.
the album's been out. So Max O'Cream dropped Weight of the World in October of 2021. It was a great album. I loved it. Top to bottom, it was really good. My favorite song was either Streets Alone with A$AP Rocky or Big Persona with Tyler. Great album. Then out of nowhere, he puts out this single called Football Heads with Benny the Butcher. And he put it out like 3 months ago, maybe.
Gotcha,
So like
gotcha.
May,
Yeah.
or maybe even later than May, but over the summer.
Right.
And then it was like, oh, hey, I'm making a deluxe version for Weight of the World. And I was like,
This late?
and I
But
was
yeah.
like, what? I was
Yeah.
like, the album came out months ago.
Uh-huh.
And it has Benny the Butcher, Anderson .Paak,
Phenomenal.
and Babyface Ray, who, if you don't know, he's super big right now in the like Detroit area. He's
Yeah.
a big Detroit artist that has recently gotten a lot of play. He was with Moneybagg Yo a lot. I think we have
Okay.
a song by him.
Yeah.
But those 5 songs are the epitome of what I'm always complaining about when I complain about deluxe culture. And that is these 5 songs add to the album.
Okay.
Whereas when most artists put out a deluxe, it's literally just songs that
Yes.
didn't make the original cut.
Right.
And so like
They're almost the throwaways.
exactly.
Yeah.
So like for example, when Uzi did Eternal Take and then Lil Uzi Vert versus the World 2, that was properly done.
Yeah.
Because that was 2 separate albums, but in order for him to do them back to back like that, he just had to call it Eternal Take Deluxe.
Yeah.
That's fine. But when you run into like, watch DJ Khaled do it with his new album.
Right. I'm sure.
Or-
I'm sorry. Even Chance Borderline does that. Like Chance the Rapper. Some of his deluxe stuff is like that.
Chance never did it with like his main 3, his big 3.
No.
Technically, he never did it with Big Day either. But every single year at Christmas time, what happens? He re-releases Merry Christmas, Lil Mama with Jeremiah with like 2 or 3 new songs
Yeah.
added onto it.
Yeah.
And so at this point, we're like 5 years deep, and it's like the super ultra deluxe version.
Yeah.
And that's so
He just adds a new word like super ultra like and it's
yeah.
gonna become
He
some
adds
long
like
thing.
he adds like 2 new songs because he like linked up with Jeremiah or something.
Why not? He finds well,
But-
that's more him not making it for other people, making it for himself.
In Chance's defense, though, every time he does it, it kind of makes me happy.
Yeah.
Because that was the last thing he did before he like went to a label. And that used to be my favorite thing about Chance is he literally won a Grammy. He's the first artist to ever win a Grammy without being signed to a record label.
Yeah.
And so
did
he's an
know that.
inspiration, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, so like this
Back to this.
yeah, so only talking about these 5 songs, very good. Now, if I want to dip in a little bit, I will say I highly recommend the album. I may just do an in-depth review one day,
Okay.
but I don't want to talk too much about it since it came out in October.
Yeah.
And I had plenty of time to talk about it before. But these 5 songs added onto the album made it absolutely gorgeous, in my opinion.
Okay.
And then, so that way we don't run out of too much time, just to speed run a couple of things that really just came out rapid fire for me. Cash In, Cash Out,
Of
Pharrell,
course.
Tyler, and 21.
course.
Banger. Whenever they teased it, I was like, please don't be like something in the metaverse
Yeah.
because the music video is animated,
Yeah.
but it looked like something that was like, I don't metaverse or whatever, and I was like, please
Alright.
don't do it.
Not today.
If you're an artist, you don't have to invest in crypto or NFTs or in the metaverse, okay? Okay, now back to what I was saying. And then the game dropped his 30-track album, which sounds excessive, but for the most part wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Like, I give it a 7 out of 10. And really
Okay.
the only thing that dropped it lower than an 8 was the 10-minute diss track towards Eminem that doesn't feel like a diss track.
Right.
Which I will say, the second verse, he kind of got on him a little bit.
Yeah.
He started cooking him up a little bit, but then it's like he was just like, nah, I'm done.
That's
If
that's
it was, yeah, if it was just that second verse
Yeah.
and everything else was like scrapped, it would have been good. Like it would have been a real diss. Like Eminem probably would have responded.
Yeah.
But he made it 10 minutes long, and he
Too
dissed
long.
50 Cent, and he dissed Dr. Dre for no reason.
Just to throw them all together. That
Just
kind of
because,
sounds like attention seeking to me.
yeah. So the game, the game's always been relevant for something,
Yeah.
and so I think that's what his 2022 relevancy is. Was that going on to this album?
Yeah.
Because last year it was him being with Kanye West.
Yeah. I mean, I think it says a lot that Eminem didn't say anything really back because Eminem even responded to like MGK, and that was a garbage.
That
was a garbage diss track.
No, I know what you're saying.
Okay.
Hear me out though. From Eminem's standpoint, what is more important? The guy who talked about your daughter,
Yeah.
or the guy that you used to be good friends with that made a 10-minute song where only 45 seconds of those 10 minutes were actually like digging?
That's true. It's something you also know is never gonna blow up.
Yeah, and it was more of him paying homage to Eminem than it was an actual diss.
Which is why it's so weird that he acts like it's this huge diss track. It's just like he threw some petty thing in there and then was
Which-
like, eh.
Calling yourself the Black Slim Shady, that's fine and dandy.
Yeah.
Go for it. Because, I mean, from a shock standpoint, they make similar music when it comes to like their older stuff put against each other. They had a lot of
Who-
shock rap.
Who else called themselves the Black Slim Shady recently? And we were both just like, no, because their style doesn't sound anything similar. We just talked about this.
I can't remember who it was, but it was when we were talking about the
Yeah.
game.
Okay.
And like they make different types of music, but like from a shock standpoint,
Right.
it makes sense to say it, but like
Yeah.
he's not gonna brand himself that way forever. So it kind of fits.
Yeah.
But what else did I have? Joey Badass dropped his album 2000, which is a sequel-esque album to his mixtape entitled 1999.
Okay.
This album is gorgeous. If you like boom bap rap that makes you feel, go listen to that album. And when you get to Survivor's Guilt, make sure you grab some tissues.
Okay.
Because brief, very quick backstory for you. Joey Badass came up with a rapper named Capital Steez. Capital Steez killed himself not long after they both became famous, and Joey Badass has been famous since, but everyone says that he rode off the coattails.
Gotcha.
But with this album, he digs deep. He kind of gets back into his old groove because for a while he was making iffy music.
Does his own thing again.
But Survivor's Guilt hurts my heart
Okay.
because he is hurting, and I feel for him, and I want to give him a hug and make him feel better.
Aw.
But it's very good.
Okay.
Great album. And Jid's on it.
Oh,
Bless Jid. Jid, Joey Badass, and Denzel Curry are all competing for my heart this year.
I love Denzel Curry.
They all three have dropped phenomenal albums that are
Truth.
like interwoven in the same type of intricacy.
Truth.
And so I love it.
Yeah.
But that's it for my speed run. I got 2 other things that we can still go back and forth on. I just
Okay,
wanted to
okay.
speed run.
I only have one album left, and then I've got like one random little single. So
Okay.
how do you want to do this?
Do your album,
Okay.
and then I'll do one of the other ones. I'll do the next smaller one, and then I'll save my biggest one for last.
Okay. So the only album I have left is Funk Waves Bounces.
Okay.
So volume
yeah.
2.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
Calvin Harris's.
Yeah.
I actually thought this album was hit or miss. It was pretty good.
It's better than I thought it was going to be.
I agree. For a second, because the other one was so good, normally volume 2 is not as good.
Yeah. This
naturally,
one feels
which
like a
it
good
wasn't.
successor.
It was a
It
good
wasn't-
successor, but it wasn't as good.
Yeah, it wasn't better or as
Right.
good, but it feels like a good sequel.
But I feel like I either love, like, okay, for example, New Money. It's the second album on the track. It's got 21 Savage in it. I hated that song.
That is not a 21 Savage song, and
No.
that's why I didn't like
But
it.
here's the thing. I liked 21 Savage, and I loved the beat, the sound
They just
effects.
don't go together.
They could not, the vibes were too different where they tried.
Exactly.
The same thing happened with Live My Best Life with Snoop Dogg. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
You're right.
I got so excited when Snoop Dogg did his intro and it like
yeah.
fit. But then as soon as he started doing his verse, I was like,
Sad
wow,
face.
I'm disappointed. This is not Snoop Dogg's trying really hard. You can tell he's putting everything into it. It just doesn't fit. But then, do you say Lato or Lato? Lotto. She popped off though in that song. Snoop Dogg ruined it. Like I was like, shoot, I was listening for one and I ended up liking the other like a lot more.
So let me tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
Their argument is always about Nicki Minaj or Cardi B. Let me tell you something. Meg Thee Stallion, Lotto, what's her name? Flo Milli,
Okay.
and Mana Leo are the 4 most hungriest female rappers in the game.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would include Doja Cat, but she's got like this pop thing going with it.
Yeah,
She's already
she's not-
established herself.
Right.
From strictly rapping, those are the 4 hungriest female rappers in the game right now.
I have to say, well,
With
'cause-
Rico Nasty following up on the behind track.
Yeah. I have to say, I think Cardi's kind of fallen off. Like, Nicki's always had this, like, she's already known. She releases stuff when she wants. She's just
yeah.
kind of like
Oh, Nicki's
cruising. She is the queen.
When it comes to nowadays, Nicki's already been out of the picture in
Right.
a way because she's reached her level.
But then, I mean,
she just
she's still
takes the
got
back road.
she's still got a song in the top 40 though.
No, that's what I'm saying.
That
It's
like she
she's
just kind
already
of does what she wants.
Exactly. She's out of the picture because she knows what to do when she needs to do it.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, say
But-
she's running out of money, she drops Super Freaky Girl.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But I already think Cardi's kind of fallen off.
So we'll see because,
don't-
man, what's the name
I've
of
never
it?
been a huge Cardi person though. I die hard Nicki over Cardi. Easy.
What's it called? I think it's called Shake It.
Mm-hmm.
It's a newer song. Also came out over the summer.
Okay.
Yeah, by K Flock.
Mm-hmm.
Cardi,
I've heard it.
Cardi B destroyed that song, dude. She put her foot in that song.
She did.
That's what she needs. She needs to go back to her grimy
Yeah.
Brooklyn sound.
Yeah.
Because that's what all clicks to me.
That's true.
The only time she's made a song that was just phenomenal, that involved her just being bougie,
yeah.
was when she made Bodak Yellow.
That's true. That is true.
But even then, she was still being grimy.
yeah.
And I need that.
Yeah.
Because
Throw back
she
to
literally
that.
came out of nowhere in that song. Because I'm not even a K Flock fan. I literally
Oh,
only
yeah.
listened just to see Cardi's part because she even went back to her red wig. And I was
Yeah.
like, Blood Cardi B is almost
Back at
as
it.
hard as Crip Snoop Dogg.
Oh yeah.
Like, they're superpowers, you know?
yeah.
But back to Calvin Harris. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
back to this album. I thought, okay, so obviously he pulls a lot of people for all these albums. So you got 21 Savage, Snoop Dogg, Sway Lee, Pusha T, Black, Justin Timberlake, Halsey. Pharrell Williams is on like 3 tracks, I think. Did I say Offset, Charlie Puth, Young Thug, Dua Lipa? Those are all the artists mainly.
Yeah.
Lil Durk. I think I've named about them all. But I really liked the song with Busta Rhymes. I
Oh,
thought it
yeah,
was
dude,
a good
Busta-
combination of
I
like
did not expect that.
no, it was a good combo of keeping that style. Like you could tell that's what they tried to do with Snoop Dogg and 21 Savage, but I'd say Busta Rhymes is the only one that like succeeded with that
Oh,
on this
yeah.
one.
So my thing with oh man, my brain hurts for a second there. No, that Busta Rhymes track came out of nowhere, and I thought
Yeah.
it was awesome.
Oh yeah.
But you know what song also really surprised me? That was Woman of the Year.
Okay.
Now it's not my favorite.
Yeah.
It just surprised me because I'm not a big Stefflon Don fan,
Yeah.
and that's because it sounds mean,
Mm-hmm.
but it's because she's British, and I don't mean that in the most disrespectful way. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is it's because there are British rappers that can really sell their sound.
Mm-hmm.
She
Not one.
doesn't lean into her accent enough.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
So she will, because the accent's not what bothers me.
Yeah.
The thing that bothered me the most was she like switches this weird way. But in this song, she doesn't do that switch.
Yeah.
Because I would rather her either try to mask it like Harry Styles does when he sings,
Oh yeah.
or just fully lean into it, man.
Yeah. You can't have to.
Let me hear the pop pop in your voice.
I'm gonna be honest. So I highlight like some of my favorite songs. So I've got about 7 out of 14 songs on here highlighted. That's not one of them. I didn't really care for that song.
That's all right.
It was fine, but
It
it's not
happens.
something I want to put on my playlist and listen to. Where I think I loved Nothing More to Say. That one with Black in it, like that one was really good.
Yes. When I saw that he was on this album, I needed this song ASAP just as much as I need a new Black album.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, this album was phenomenal. The energy brought into this album was phenomenal.
Yes.
The album itself, I wouldn't say it missed, but it didn't stick the landing.
Say like a 5.5 out of 10.
I give it a 6, yeah.
Yeah.
So around the same,
Yeah.
we're on the same page.
Yeah.
It felt like, I'm glad that it felt like a real successor though.
And it's got its Potion, its radio hit up there.
It felt like a good sequel.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Obsessed with Charlie Puth and oh my god, how
I was
do you
waiting
say
for
her?
you to say it.
Shenshia. What you call it? But obsessed. I've never heard Charlie Puth sound like that. He manipulates his voice to have more of like this belly sounding.
He sounded like a grown man in it.
I don't want to compare it to Elvis because it's not Elvis, but like the belly sound that Elvis does when he sings. Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
No, yeah.
That's
It's the
what Charlie
gruff,
Puth
the
did.
gruffness.
He can manipulate sound and pitch so well. I was just so surprised when he did that. It was so good. This was so different Charlie Puth, and I still loved it.
Oh, yeah, dude.
That was probably my favorite song on this track. And then my other two would be Day One with Pharrell Williams and Pusha T. And then either for number 3, Nothing More to Say with Black, or Ready or Not with Busta Rhymes. One of those two.
Ready or Not's the best one. No doubt, in my opinion. That's my favorite. Like, that's the top tier.
Those
track.
aren't in order. I was just saying that one of...
No, I was just agreeing with you because
Yeah.
I didn't even make a top 3. I thought it was fine. But
Yeah.
Ready or Not stuck out so hard that it's
Oh my
just,
gosh,
it
I
has to be
know.
my favorite.
Okay. My favorite has to be Obsessed, just because I'm such a Charlie Puth fan.
No way.
But yeah, crazy.
Who would have thunk?
I love Charlie Puth.
He's
but,
great.
yeah.
I love him too.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know. Honorable mention, Lean On Me by Sway Lee.
Yeah.
Or featuring Sway Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't feel like, one thing I was surprised about, I didn't hear, like, Calvin normally sings a little bit in some of his
He
songs.
does, yeah.
I didn't really hear that in, like,
He
any
kind of
of
took a
these.
back seat.
Yeah.
Like he produced it all.
Well, of
obviously,
course, it's
but like
all him.
he
but
vocally didn't really do a whole lot.
he stepped back a lot. Another one I was super disappointed with was New to You. It's got like Offset on it, Tinashe, Normani.
Yeah. That
I didn't like it.
I knew that was gonna be one of those songs that sounded like it'd be better. And that's because there is so much going on with Offset and the Migos right now that we can discuss at a later time on the podcast.
Yeah.
But as of right now, Braden Taylor, everyone, he's dancing in the hallway. Thank
Love
you,
that.
Braden. Love you. He has so much going on right now
Yeah.
that short of the past 2 songs he put out, he wasn't trying lately.
Right. And I just feel like it's disappointing that he's on this with this lack of effort.
Yeah.
Like he should have just said no.
But if you want to check out some good Offset music, check out the past 2 songs he put out. Because 54321 was produced by Baby Keem, and it's so good. And Baby Keem is a great producer.
Yeah.
You're going to hear a lot of production by him in the near future.
Okay. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Alrighty. And then what else we got? So that's all I have album wise. I've got a single, just one thrown in here if you want to talk about it, because I know you know it.
Yeah.
I Literally Never Think About You by Kyle.
Yes.
Came out August 5th.
Yes.
You showed it to me.
Yes.
So good. So good.
That I love Kyle. This
It's thrown
this
in
is
my
old
playlist.
Kyle. Now,
Yes.
this is new, completely new for everyone who has seen this podcast before. Me and Callie are quite possibly the biggest Kyle fans in existence.
That is so true. I
And
love Kyle.
I have been obsessed with him for years.
Yes.
And this feels like old Kyle.
Oh my
And
gosh, I know.
There's no other way to put it than this song is perfect.
Oh, I know.
And
It's
the editing
very,
is perfect.
Everything. Kyle's not popped off and had a hit like this in a while.
Since I Spy.
Easy. I agree.
Years. 6 years.
Oh my gosh.
We are
6
old.
years?
We're old.
Stop.
Yeah. I Spy was 2016.
What?
Yeah.
I feel like 2016 was like
Last year.
Oh my gosh. Oh
But
man.
let me tell you, the
Okay,
song's
okay.
perfection. And me and Callie, we talked about the dynamics of music not long ago. We were in the car and we were talking about how we love how things are produced. We love how they're put together.
Yes.
And this song starts with one of the things that Callie was talking about. And I know that she loves it. I just want to dig into it a little bit.
Okay.
And that is, she loves when artists use when it comes to the mixing of their albums or their music, she loves it when they use the pan for the left and the right. And at the
Oh,
very beginning of the
yes.
song, he does this, yeah, 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 yeah. And it goes from the left to the right, back and forth with every yeah.
Music
and then
to
it
my-
jumps in and it's gorgeous. Look at her right now.
It's a headphones listening song. I walk around with my big beats
Even
on
in the
all
car,
the
dude.
time. Oh my gosh, with the speakers, the left and
Yes.
the right. Not such a good song.
She's losing her
I
cool.
love when just to throw it back and connect it. Boy with You did that with a lot of his songs.
Yeah.
You wouldn't actually know it without headphones.
Yeah. That's what we were
But-
talking about in the car, actually.
Yeah.
When we were talking about this.
Yeah, but this song really popped off with that. Tyler, the Creator, is also somebody who does that.
He's
really
the king
well.
of doing that.
Oh,
if
yes.
you listen to Earthquake, you have beats or just any type of headphone where it's in both ears. If you listen in the background, Charlie Wilson's voice in the background when he's doing the
Yeah.
in the background, it slowly goes from his right ear, from
Yeah.
your right ear into your left ear, and then back by the time he finishes
like-
his note.
I love music that sounds beautiful on a speaker, but a different experience when you put it on with headphones.
Exactly.
And that's what this song is. This single.
So
That's it. That's all I gotta
Yeah.
say about the single.
I love that single.
It's
by the way.
great. It's
I
a-
love Kyle.
Go
I need a
listen
new
to
Kyle
it.
album.
Me too.
Actually, he just dropped an album not long ago, and it's pretty good. It's not as good as this single is,
Right.
But it's still a pretty good album.
I need an album. Ooh,
it's
once
his
I drop
first
that.
full length, just R&B project.
Yeah.
and I thought it was pretty good. But definitely go check that out. Check the single out before anything.
Of course.
But we're nearing the end, so we're at our final two.
Okay. Okay.
So I want to start with this one, and it's not going to be as deep because I'm probably going to do an in-depth review of it at some point.
Okay.
But it's that important. That's why.
Okay. Okay.
And that is West Side Boogie's album,
Okay.
which is called More Black Superheroes.
Okay.
And
I missed that.
if you have heard of West Side Boogie before, he is one of the newest signees to Eminem's label,
Yeah.
and he makes some. He is, I don't even know how to explain it. He's like very Compton sound, but he puts all this like East Coast energy into it. But it's very good. This album, I don't know if you've heard his first project or not.
I have.
So you know how deep he got, like with Skydive.
Yes.
This album gets intense with his
Yeah.
self-examination. Because the last album, he got deep. He talked about his problems and
Of
stuff.
course.
But this one, he really starts to point fingers at himself rather than others. And it's great.
I'm really disappointed I missed this. I need to go back and
Here's the
listen to
thing.
it now.
There's no being too late to this album
That's-
because
okay,
this
okay.
is in my top 5 of the year no matter what.
Oh my gosh.
And we're only
Yeah.
we're barely halfway over through the year.
Yeah.
If you check out our TikTok account, I actually made a full video on my top 5 of the year so far.
Yes.
And in December, I will have my top 5 of the year.
Check us out at
For good.
WZIS-FM on TikTok.
I had to.
Good, good,
Okay.
good, good.
But back to this album. The features are amazing, dude. Soldier Boy shows up
Okay.
and he gives a phenomenal verse.
Okay.
Like he is lyrical. He doesn't do the whole like he normally does. It is phenomenal. Like I am literally sweating with excitement just from thinking of it again.
Yeah.
It is a phenomenal album. The best song is LOL SMH Part 2, and that's because that one starts off pretty smooth and then just gets deeper. Kilo Mode's a very good intro to have. I is really good with Shelly, formerly known as Dram. He is very good in that song, even though he only has like a little piece of it. Very good, very good, very good. It's all good. But since we're running out of time,
Yeah.
one final album that I would like to discuss on this podcast, and I'm sure you knew it was coming.
Yeah.
That would be Wasteland by Brent Faiyaz.
Yes, of course. I have listened to this
So-
album. Not all of it to its completion, but
Now,
some.
arguably, because I'm really just battling myself for this, album of the year.
Really?
From an all genre standpoint, this is possibly my
Really?
favorite album the whole year. Now, typically, I have a lot of rap in my album of the year categories.
Of course.
Because I like poetry and I like rhyming,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of that in rap music. But this album, dude, Brent really makes you feel something. And like, you know how the typical thing is like, oh, Brent's toxic or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So if you look at his albums, there is Sonder Son, which is his first project since dropping out of the small R&B group Sonder,
Right.
which they're still close friends, don't get me wrong.
But yeah.
But that album is very like, that one feels like a 90s R&B album. And then he goes into F the World, which that album, he ramps it up. He
Right.
dives straight into his topics head on. He's toxic, he's manipulative, he's emotional.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. And then this is the perfect follow-up to F the World.
Okay.
And that is because he really like, he doesn't treat it as like toxicity. He treats his toxic moments as like a small moment of euphoria to get away from his issues.
Gotcha.
And so there's an underlying story, and I still don't know if it's like actually like relevant to like Brent's actual life or not. But the story of this album, which it tells through these 3 skits that are
Yeah.
very good, is he has a girlfriend who is pregnant back home, and he's about to go on tour. And so that's kind of where this album kind of follows through with the skits. And the whole time he just like, he starts off super toxic. He starts off super like strong and hard-headed. And halfway through the album, he's like, he kind of like lets loose, he like drops the persona for a minute. And he's just like really like, who am I? Like,
yeah.
why is it every time you make me feel this way, I become even more of an like a dickhead about it? And so, and then by the end of the album, he's like really realized like who he is and what he's like, why he's the way he is. Which
Yeah.
he doesn't really cut
Very
down
good
on.
development.
He doesn't really cut down on the conceitedness, which he doesn't need to.
Yeah.
Because for this album, it works perfectly. But then he jumps into this, the very last of it all. Like the last skit is heartbreaking, like heart-wrenching to be specific.
Oh, yes.
That thing hurt. And
I did go back and listen to it when you told me to.
yeah. And then did you listen to the outro right after
I
it?
did.
Don't they just
Did.
blend?
They do.
I don't want to spoil it for
Oh.
anyone, but definitely check it out. It's a great album and
Yeah.
easily, if not my number one, top 5, all genres, all music to drop this year.
Yeah.
Top 5 album of the year,
Dang.
if not my number one.
Okay.
And that's
See
and
it.
there's plenty more to come. You know, we're barely
Man, this summer is popping.
we're barely over halfway through. We're well over now. We're 2 months
Yeah.
over halfway through the
That's
year.
crazy.
And we're still waiting on a lot of stuff to happen. JID just dropped, which we're gonna do an in-depth review and talk more into it.
Another episode.
We're gonna have Joe with us. Whenever we talk about JID's album. But then you know how we do. We keep you updated.
Of course.
You stick with us, and you'll know everything you need to know.
You'll know what's happening.
And so, with that being said, I've been Gavin the Chef Cook, and you have been,
Calli Kohl.
and we have been Past the Aux.
Love it.
And there's just so much more that we have in stock for you.
So stay tuned for next episode. I like that one. That's a perfect
So,
one.
It's the perfect one.
I was wondering if I can get the ox. The ox, miss.